Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Simply G radio show on the Simply G Media Network. I'm the host of the show, Neil Haley. You can go to my website, totaltutor.net, for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley. Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley. Instagram, Total Tutor. And I'm so excited to welcome the program my co-host and the creator of Simply G. You are Simply G. GJ Reynolds. GJ, how are you?
I'm doing great. Been on the road nonstop, and I'm excited to catch my breath and do another show. So I'm very excited.
Exactly, and we have a really exciting guest. I know that you're a fan of his and especially a fan of his father's. So go ahead and tell me who our guest is today.
I'm definitely a big fan of both him and his father, and our guest is a 10-year veteran of Major League Baseball, primarily with the Kansas City Royals. Go Royals! Obviously, his dad played for the Royals and won the World Series in the 80s, and he grew up going to high school in Kansas City, and got picked up by Kansas City Royals in the first round, and had a great 10-year career in the Major League Baseball. He's gone on to do great things. He used baseball as a platform to, for off-the-field activities. He's been a journalist in radio, TV, and he's very involved in several foundations. And so please welcome to the show, Brian McRae. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. Thank you, guys.
Well, we're excited to have you on the show, Brian. So basically, once you decided to retire from baseball, how difficult was it to transition to life after baseball?
It was tough just because for 15 years since I graduated high school, every spring and summer I'm playing ball, and my body was used to it, my mind was used to it. And when I decided to retire was in the spring training of 2000. I was with the Cardinals for most of the spring training until they traded for Jim Edmonds. And once that happened, my chances of making the team were probably slim. And once I found out that wasn't going to happen, it was late in spring training. It was tough for me to find a job with other teams because it was so late in spring training. I had a couple of teams that wanted me to go play AAA ball for a little bit and maybe get a chance to get called up. But that wasn't something I was interested in doing at the time because I've been an everyday player in the big leagues for 10 years, and I just didn't feel like, if somebody thought that I could help their team out, I thought I should be on a big league roster. If they didn't think I could help their team out, then I basically figured, well, they're not thinking that I can play anymore. So if that's the consensus, then I've done all I could do. I felt good with my decision, and then I went on to start broadcasting right after that. And since it was such a quick transition from one to the other, I really didn't miss playing as much as I thought after that first 2 weeks or so of not having a uniform on anymore.
And what we see a lot of times, and I'm going to go pass this over to GJ because I know GJ has a lot of questions, is that when people have an idea of what they're going to do after they retire from one thing, especially when we talk about athletes, GJ, they always have another thing to do. They always know what their passions are and where to go forward, especially if they think about it. And I think Brian, from learning from his father, was able to kind of jump right into the next thing. Isn't that true, G?
Well, obviously, Brian had a great mentor and, a great platform, from his father playing all those years, Hal McRae, number 11. And so obviously, most people, they have that mentorship. So, Brian obviously had that mentorship. So how was the mentorship with your father and you? Obviously you had a lot of impact on the baseball side of things, but how was the mentorship, helping you develop as a man and then growing off the field?
Just kind of learn, how the system works with baseball, understanding your role and your place, being realistic about things. I looked at things at that point in my career and thinking maybe I could hold on and play 3 or 4 more years, bounce around, but that's not what I want to do. Why hold on and do that and have uncertainty every year when I could go start another career, do something else where I could get a fresh start, get away from the grind. So those are the things that I learned, from my dad and just being around a lot of veteran ball players growing up. Is just, know your time, know your place, know your role. If you can't accept that, then you need to move on to something else. And when the game gets to be a grind and not any fun, then maybe it's time to step back and to do something else. There are a lot of guys say, well, I'm going to play until they take the uniform off. But are they really doing themselves any good? Their families any good? Are they just being selfish? So you have to look at a lot of things. There are a lot of other things to consider than you, because as a player, for a long period of time, everything is centered around what you do, where you play the baseball season. And at some point in time, you have to let some of that go and do some things for your family.
And that's so true. And then look at the rest of your career. And Brian, I guess transitioning into broadcasting, from learning so much from your father and then understanding the game for 10 years, it was a perfect spot for you to go into broadcasting, wasn't it? You just had the niche of understanding baseball and was a great person to jump into that field, right?
I just think that the transition for me was easier than some other guys because I accepted it. I didn't try to fight it. And I was okay with it. I wish I would have played longer, fine. But I got 10 years in the big leagues where they told me I was only going to get 2 weeks when I got called up. So I played 15 years of pro ball. I got in early at the age of 17. I got out early at the age of 33. I'm going to be an ex-ball player a lot longer than I'm going to be a ball player. And I just thought it was the right time physically, mentally for me, if the perfect opportunity didn't arise to stay with the ball club, that it was a good time for me to get out.
Well, that's a couple of good things that you said there that our listening audience, a lot of our listening audiences are entrepreneurs and people looking to transition from a job to being an entrepreneur or elevating to being a better entrepreneur. And you hit on the key word, acceptance. And accepting where you're at and accepting the situation and then saying, okay, here's what I choose to do to move forward. And that's what very...
And also, I had a family. I was married, maybe looking to start a family. I have a 7-year-old daughter now. It ain't all about me anymore. If I was single, I would have held on and played longer. But when you have other people depending on you and other people's lives that hang in the balance because where you play, if you get traded, what you make, all those kind of things, there's a lot of instability in the game, and that's not good for a young family.
Absolutely, Brian. And so once this occurred, once you made that change, you went into broadcasting, did you see more of other opportunities open up once you went into broadcasting in your career as well? You saw once you got to meet people and you weren't constantly in the grind of thinking about your game, but meeting others, networking, doing broadcasting, you saw there's other opportunities out there as well. Those opened up as well, didn't they, Brian?
Well, towards the end of my career, I got into a partnership with Jeff Montgomery, former pitcher with the Royals, and some business people here in the Kansas City area, and we bought a couple radio stations, sports radio stations here. So I got involved in that. I was always doing broadcast radio and TV work while I was playing, so it was something that I had been doing and making contacts, connections while I was playing. So once I got done, I kind of knew the direction I was going to go into or have an opportunity to go in that direction. And I did the ESPN work for 2 years. I worked for MLB.com for seven and a half. And so since 2008, I've been coaching, and I wanted to get back into baseball on the field, but I didn't want to do it right away. I'm glad I had that period of about 8 or 9 years away from the field so I could gain a different perspective on everything else. And now I have a better idea of what I want to do from 47 years old on. And I'm coaching. I do two things here. I have a nonprofit organization of high school age kids that we kind of do travel ball during the summers and fall, try to place them in different colleges, and we do that. We have 4 or 5 teams, and then I coach at Park University, north of Kansas City. It's an NAIA school. I'm in my second year at Park, and I'm finishing up my degree, getting a degree in psychology at Park University. So it helped me make that transition to figure out kind of what I want to do, what kind of things I want to pursue later in life. And when guys get right back on the field a year or 2 after they retire, I don't think they're ready to do everything that needs to be done. They need more time away. And I'm glad I had a lot of time away, because now the bus rides again and the long hours at the ballpark, all those things don't bother me as much as they probably would if I would have gone from a player to a coach and doing those things right away.
And that's so true. And I think that we have to go through our life experiences. Once we transition to something else, especially, we see, is this something we want to do forever? And then we see our passions come out. And GJ, one of the things, you always talk about is finding that life purpose, finding what you truly are passionate about, and then go for it. But you have to go through life to find that, right, G?
Correct, and Brian touched on a key component here is that, sometimes you just have to step away and just be before you move forward, and that's a good point that Brian shares, is that a lot of times
I wanted to go to do normal people stuff, and that's what and people laugh at me. It's like, what do you mean normal people stuff? Well, 4th of July, I want to go to a 4th of July cookout. I want to do, go to a lake in the summer with the family. I want to do things where, as a ball player, that's our busy schedule. We don't, it's a holiday. It ain't a holiday for us. We're at work. So I wanted to be able to golf in the afternoon if I wanted to and not worry about going to the ballpark. Just things that people take for granted when you're in our profession. Those things are taken away from you. You got a lot of perks. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great things about being a professional athlete. But some of the things in the summer that everybody else gets to do, we don't get to enjoy those things.
Absolutely. And GJ, that's the thing that you talk about a lot, about the freedom of being who you are as an entrepreneur or in a certain field, like in teaching, as Brian being a coach, and having the freedom to have those opportunities and life experiences. And what G tries to teach a lot of his fellow entrepreneurs is to really remember about the life experiences, not just constantly working, right, G?
Correct, and it's basically just being true to who you are, and Brian's doing that and living that, and that a lot of people think, hey, you've got this great lifestyle as a ball player and all these accolades and all these perks, and then what you just said it on the head is, what about all the things that the average person has that they're able to do that you're not able to do? And obviously baseball, that's in the middle of the summer, and that's when it's warm, that's when it's nice, and you're unable to do some of the nice stuff. So that's I never thought of it that way. So thanks for sharing that and bringing that to light. And it's the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So obviously you've transitioned. You've done a great job. You're coaching. You've got your foundation. Let's tell a little more about your foundation and also where we can find more information about you as well.
It's called Kansas City Sluggers Baseball, and our Twitter page is KC Sluggers. Facebook is Kansas City Sluggers Baseball. And the big thing I'm trying to do is just raise more money so we can do more with the kids that are in our organization. As I said, we're a nonprofit 501c organization, and I don't like the fact that kids have to pay a whole lot of money to play travel baseball. When I came through the high school ranks playing Legion ball, it wasn't like that. You paid $50 to $60 for your uniform and your physical and all that, and you were gone. You played, and you had scouts and college coaches watching you. Now it's thousands and thousands of dollars that kids are paying, families are paying, and you're traveling 6 to 8 hours to play in showcase tournaments on college campuses and things like that. And I'm trying to get it to where we raise enough money where we can select teams and the kids don't have to pay much, We can have quality coaches. We can still put them in front of a lot of eyes as far as college coaches and pro scouts, but we're not charging them $5,000 to do it.
And I think that's so important because, again, these kids, they want to get this opportunity, Brian, and you're seeing a lot of times that kids that can't afford baseball choose another sport. And you love this sport,
right,
and you want to see it keep on going and keep developing. And if it constantly becomes a sport that only the wealthy can play, the opportunities that lots of people had before are missed out. So what a great...
Not only opportunities, just the game suffers from that because you lose athletes. You lose guys that, could make significant changes to the popularity of the sport. You'll lose them to other sports. So I don't want kids to say, I wish I could play for you, but I don't have any money.
Right.
Right. Kids are qualified enough and they can play, talented enough. I want them to be able to do it, and that's what we're trying to do, raising funds so we can scholarship kids in, so we can travel a little bit farther at times, so we can bring in better coaches and instructors, so we can, get the newest equipment, all those things I want to be able to provide to the kids. So once they leave our program and go on to college or pro ball, they are properly prepared for what they're going to be going into, and getting them into college. If they don't have enough money to play ball, pay for ball, they definitely don't have enough money to pay for college. And if I can get some of that college paid for, that helps out the kid, helps out their family, and puts them in a better position. They're not going to be probably pro ball players, but they can get their education because they were able to be decent enough players that some school paid them to go get their education there.
And, Brian, do you see yourself continuing the foundation for sure, but do you see yourself coaching for the rest of your career, and I guess till you retire? Or do you see yourself...
Yeah, that's why I'm going on to get my degree here at Park University, because you can't be a head coach at any four-year institution without a degree. And since I signed out of high school, I didn't go to college until I took some classes when we were on strike in '94. So I think that the best route for me was to do what I'm doing, get my degree at Park University. If something opens up where I can be a head coach at a college level, they can't hold the fact that I don't have a degree against me.
Yeah.
I can get a job now if I want to coach at a four-year school, be it D1, D3, NAIA, whatever. I'll be qualified enough to where they can say, okay, you can get this or you don't, but it's not because I don't have a degree.
Exactly, and that really is a testament to you, Brian, to see this, because he wants to go on. I remember interviewing another athlete that again did not finish college but wanted to go on and coach, and that they hold this against them if he wants to continue to go on to a higher level of coaching till he has that degree, GJ. So that just shows again his passion. He's done very well as a professional athlete, but he sees that he can really make a difference on the field as a coach. That's awesome what he's doing.
And another point is, too, what I tell the kids that I coach, I played 15 years of pro ball, got all kind of experience baseball-wise, but I didn't finish school. So that held me back on what ultimately I want to do. So it doesn't matter how much money I made, how much time I played in the big leagues, what I achieved, I don't have that piece of paper, which didn't allow me to be a college head coach sooner. I'm going to have to wait till I'm around 50 just because I didn't get that degree.
Yeah, definitely. GJ, that's what you actions speak louder than words in certain ways. If you're talking to people and motivating people, that GJ does all the time, you gotta do what you're saying, and especially talking to kids. He sees that he's got to have that degree to show that education's important, and that he sees it as a life's journey.
Correct, and one thing that Brian is also sharing is that when you have that opportunity as a kid to get that education, I mean, you can always use education somewhere in your life. And all the education that I've had, with my degree, and it took me 9 years to get my degree, and I joke because, it took me 9 years to get my degree, and they don't call me doctor. But I got it done, and, Coach Dale Brown, who's my mentor, is always put in my head. You got to get your education. You got to get your education. So, it's a good lesson when you're young. Get that education knocked out. You never know where it's going to open up a door. And but I applaud you, Brian, for staying the course and getting your education and being a light for others and being a great role model for kids and helping kids. And it's sad that baseball here in our country is not as popular as it once was with the kids, because you hit it right on the head, the cost. A good friend of ours, Coach Jerry Manuel, who managed in the big leagues. You probably know Jerry.
Yes, I do.
Jerry's son-in-law is one of my best friends, Jerome Davis. And Jerry's been on our show, and he's got, a charter school out in California, that create an awareness and be able to provide inner-city kids to be able to play baseball and to learn great education as well. And so, you two need to talk, because, definitely can probably help each other with that. And we'll do our part.
The big key is just trying to get resources in areas where you're losing the kids. And we try to work with inner city kids here in Kansas City, try to work with the Hispanic community here. Also, when you go out in the suburbs, they got nice ball fields, they got turf fields, they got cages, they got all this. You come into the inner city, they have nothing.
Right.
And if a kid sees nothing, sees a bad ball field, bad coaching, bad equipment, he's not going to be interested in that. So we just want to give kids the equal opportunity to have the same things that other kids have, and then see where they go from there.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, again, for our listeners out there that can donate to your foundation and stuff, where can they find information on you and yourself?
Yeah, the website is Kansas City Sluggers, or KCSluggersBaseball.com. That's the website. Has all information there, and as I said, we have Facebook page, Kansas City Sluggers Baseball, and then Twitter, KC Sluggers is our Twitter handle. And they can find out more information about the program, find out who has come through our program, where they've gone. Albert Pujols was a Kansas City Slugger before I got involved in it. He's the most prominent slugger that played in our organization. Aaron Crow with the Royals, Joey Devine, Sean Markham, our guys that are in the big leagues that have come through the Sluggers program, and then the whole host of kids that are playing college ball and gone on to be successful professionals doing other things. I've been involved with the Kansas City Sluggers since '08. We got about 150 players or so that have gone on to play college ball, and 6 or 7 guys have been drafted since I've been a part of it. I've been running it since 2010.
Well, Brian, you're doing great work. We're going to definitely have you back on. If you ever have any new news, please give us a call, text me, email me, and we'll definitely get this out all over the place to help out your organization. And best of luck in finishing up your degree and with your team. So thanks again for calling.
I appreciate it, and you guys take care, and thanks for giving me a chance to let everybody know what I'm doing.
Well, we definitely enjoyed it, and thanks again. Take care. All right. You're listening to the Simply G radio show on the Simply G Media Network, and we'll be back in just a moment.